In this video, I'll show you how to use flex pitch for vocal tuning, and I'll also use it to fix some timing issues in the vocals. So first, I'll tune up the vocals in the verse. So to turn on flex pitch, you click here to show flex, and then click here to turn on the flex analysis for that track. Then change the flex algorithm to flex pitch. Now you can tune up the notes right here on the region, but I usually don't like working this way. I like to double click here at the top of the region. This opens it up in the editor down here, and then I can show my flex here. And as you can see, it transforms all of the notes into sort of a piano roll style editor down here. It's much easier to edit down here than it is up in the arrange window. The algorithm in flex pitch works best with clear tone, brighter quality voices. If your singer's got a lot of mid-range grit or growl to their voice, flex pitch doesn't handle these vocal types very well. So I typically limit my vocal tuning with flex pitch to just tweaking certain notes, usually the long notes. So each note you can move around just like a MIDI note. And you'll see that when you move it around, it moves at relative half steps on the pitch grid. But notice that the notes don't snap exactly to the pitches on the grid. A quick way to do this is just to double click on a note and it'll snap to its nearest pitch on the grid. Then you can further adjust the note, like here, this is on A flat. Maybe I want this to be down on G instead. You can also double click up here on the ruler to start playback from that point.
Now that you're sober.
Let's solo the track for now. You'd be surprised how much easier it is to edit vocal pitches when the music actually isn't playing.
Now that you're sober.
So this last note doesn't quite sound right. It sounds too high. So let's double click, and it's gone up even higher. So let's try pulling that down a half step.
Now that you're sober.
So on the tail end of this note, you can see that the pitch drifts up here, and this is almost like a little hiccup on the end of the note. So we don't want that there. So one of the things you can do with flex pitch is you can use the scissors tool, and you can separate a note. And you can either tune this separated note individually, or you can just delete it altogether. Now, when you delete a note like that, you're not actually deleting the note. You're just deleting the tuning on that pitch. So I'm just ignoring the tuning on this note here after that point. And you can see right here too, there's a note here, or some sort of a sound there in the waveform, but there's no tunable note associated with it. So in addition to being able to delete notes that you don't want to tune, Logic also does a pretty good job at detecting consonant sounds in the vocal recording that don't have a tunable pitch. So I'm assuming this is the S in the word sober.
Now that you're sober.
So you hear those little pops and clicks on the front end here and also at the end here. Sometimes you may find yourself just completely deleting notes to avoid those pops and clicks.
Now that you're sober. Don't tell.
I'm going to delete this note as well.
Now that you're sober. Don't tell.
I'm just going to go through and tune the notes that I feel need tuning, and I'm going to avoid tuning notes that make the recording sound worse. So another thing you can do is you can drag over a whole series of notes, and you can pull up the pitch correction over here, and it'll snap these notes to the grid. So you can actually use a lower amount of pitch correction if you like. So I'm going to pull this up to 100% though. Let's give that one more listen.
Now that you're sober.
So those G's are pretty much perfectly in tune. Now there's 6 different hot spots or hot zones on each of these notes. The one in the top middle is the fine pitch. This adjusts the pitch of the note in cents. So if you need to adjust its fine tuning, I'll just double click to set that back to G. On the upper left and upper right, you can adjust the pitch drift of the note on the front end and on the back end of the note. So you can use this to center the pitch drift of each note.
Now that you're sober.
Okay, so I'll move on to the next phrase.
Don't tell me that it's over.
So there's certain parts I'm definitely going to get rid of. This note right here is going to go. One thing I could do here is instead of snapping the pitch correction to the grid chromatically, what I could do is set the key of my song as the scale quantize option. So this song is in D minor, which means that the main notes I'm going to be tuning to are D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, and D. Now you can just kind of keep those notes in the back of your head and make manual adjustments, or down here in the scale quantize option, you can select natural minor and then choose your tonic note. So now when I drag over these notes and pull the pitch correction up to 100%, it snaps everything to the key of D minor. And here's the next phrase.
Don't turn this ship around and tell me that you can't give one more day.
Let's take a look at the end here before I tune anything up. This note, it's split it into two separate notes. So much like you can use the scissors tool to split notes, you can also use the glue tool to join notes back together. So I'm going to do that. And then this very last note's got sort of a scoop up on it.
Day.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate that note and create two separate notes for that scoop up to the A. So off screen, I went through and finished tuning up the rest of the verse. Again, deleting certain notes where I thought the tuning was making it sound worse or where it just didn't need it. So before I play this back, I want to show you two more edit functions. You can actually adjust the placement of notes by trimming the front or back of each note, just like so. So this is nice because you can plant notes better on the grid if they're a little bit behind or a little bit ahead of where they should be. Lastly, I'm going to press Command A to select all of my notes, and I'm going to pull down this vibrato setting on the bottom center. Now when I use this, I use it at a pretty mild setting. This just helps smooth out the pitch drift overall for the entire vocal recording.
Now that you're sober, don't tell me that it's over. Don't turn this ship around and tell me that you can't give one more day. Don't ever tell me why. Don't you ever tell me why. 'Cause I don't want to know.
So again, use flex pitch in moderation, but this result is much better than what we started with, just with some simple tuning fixes and some timing fixes to tighten up the rhythms.